The Broncos Mile High View, no commercials, no bullshit. Colby joins me from Dago Garcia. If you have any idea where that is, just Google Earth that and you'll find out where Colby is, Dago Garcia. So he's unable to Skype. He is way, way away from us. But he did manage to watch the game. A very interesting game okay, I heard the first half into about the middle of the third on the radio. And then I was able to watch from there on. And it definitely seemed like a battle in the trenches. This is just my overall take. I don't know what happened in the first half as far as the offense was concerned, why it took them as long as it did to kind of get things going, why they couldn't do this initially from the start of the game. The defensive line is everything we said it was, a pile of crap. It's definitely a league worst. It's got to be a league worst. So people got to remember that the Cleveland Browns are equally, if not more, probably more banged up than the Broncos are, pound for pound, and still they could muscle and have their way with the Denver Broncos, for as far as I'm concerned, overall. So anyway, that's my take on what little bit I saw. Colby, go ahead and hit it.
I just think that this scoreboard, 17-14, isn't addictive on how the Broncos got their asses kicked in the trenches today. I think they got their butts kicked in the trenches today, offensively and defensively.
Oh, it was obvious. That was it. There was no matter of fact. Aikman talked about it. Logan talked about that. And let me ask you, Colby, out of all the fans and shows and platforms, which show and platform like just pounds the table on these lines? Which one?
Us.
And do you think people will ever get a clue on this?
No, nope.
No. And watching the offense, sometimes it's just like if there's like a glimmer of hope there with their player personnel, and it's like if only we didn't have Shermer. If only we didn't have Shermer. We had a different OC. I'm just saying that the defensive line is, and I'm going to say Draymond Jones too. I'm going to keep saying that, and I'm going to say something too about people coming on our channel with the intention of if one of us replies that we get flagged for bullying or harassment when there's no such thing. I probably should go in and strike this guy off just completely. Because what that tells me is you don't have an argument. You have a vendetta. You don't have an argument. You know we're right. You know you can't argue. And your comments were really asinine. And I could go through each one of them, and maybe I will. I don't know. But I think your intention was to just cause harm and try to get YouTube to ban the channel or whatever. That's your goal. Even though we're not doing anything, you weren't getting harassed, you weren't being bullied, and you are being a bad person. And if you're a bad person, those are the kind of things that you will do. And we had another commenter ask me, you should get on other platforms, and that's kind of been the thing, because I'm done with YouTube and their censorship, all because some sour grape, wants to cry and whine. That just shouldn't cut it. You just because anybody can make accusations, and that should not lead into you getting your comments removed because some pimplehead, pinhead, makes a complaint. Because apparently nobody's really monitoring anything. Somebody makes a complaint, and people are gaming that system. So that's just, we saw it in, throughout history, Stasi Germany, stuff like this, communist China, whatever. Rat your neighbor out because you want to get with his wife or something, like, these kind of things. So I'm just really done with people like that are on that, low of a threshold. So that kind of irritated me today. So I'm going to talk about sports talk radio real quick. People were chiming in saying that this is kind of a Case Keenum revenge game, and if sports talk radio was getting all defensive, well, John Elway gave him every chance, gave him a chance. Nobody else gave him a chance, and I'm like, you call that a chance? And here's the other thing: why are we giving chances? Why is it that the Denver Broncos, John Elway, can't have a plan in place? If it's about giving people chances, then you don't have a plan in place. This is a rudderless ship. Elway is as clueless as the day is long. The fans are abysmal. I mean, wash, rinse, repeat.
Yes. Right? Yes, I agree with you.
It's just, we need ownership. That's what it really comes down to. We need ownership. We need somebody who's got a clue to come in and be the general manager. Well, we can't. I'm telling you, Peyton, George Payton, he can't be. We can't really gauge it because Elway's there, and this is Elway's team. According to the way Elway feels, this is his team, and because when Shanahan, so here I go up. When Fangio was hired, everybody was saying Elway's got to be held accountable if this doesn't work out. Onion layer, insulation. I don't exist. Where are the calls for Elway to be removed? Ellis to be removed? Where are those calls? Where are they coming from? Same people who want the lines to be better?
Yeah.
Is that the only place this is going on?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack on what you said. I really want to go back and talk about Draymond Jones, because I think this is a topic that I think is really caught some fire, and we're the ones that started that fire, and it's being lit and lit ever since. And Draymond Jones is non-existent in this game today. I just want to put that there. He, Shelby Harris had a better game. I actually was more impressed with Shelby Harris today than I was Draymond Jones. And the commenter that came on here, I just want to say this to him, and I'm not going to come and attack him because that's not who I am. But, you're going to go on YouTube and
well, I'm sorry about that.
No, you're fine. You're basically going to tell me that, you say I'm harassment and bullying, yet I'm trying to come at you and ask you questions, and you're accusing me for certain things, and that's fine. We all have difference of opinions, but you obviously don't know what you're talking about, because I told you in the comments, go back and watch the other videos that we have posted about Draymond Jones and Shelby Harris. We've been both very critical on both those players, and you can't seem to grasp what I'm talking about. We provide film for you people, and you come on here and become little trolls like you are, and you want to get us, you basically want to get rid of us because you don't like the cold hard truth of this team. I saw you on Mile High Huddle today. It's okay. I know you follow them, and that's fine. If that's what you want to do, go. You're a feel-good fan. You want that sunshine and rainbows. You want the lollipops up your asshole. It's fine. It's totally fine. But Draymond Jones in this game, and I'm going to ask it to that commenter, where the fuck was Draymond Jones?
I want to tell you this. This guy is a pinhead, number one, because he tried to. I'm reposting what I can see. I can't do it. I have it on my phone. I'm not logged in. I can't see it, but I can see it on where I'm logged in. Your comments, they're straightforward. I will repost them. But getting into this whole Draymond Jones thing is it's a cult following. It's a cult. It's part of the Elway cult.
Yeah.
And I just if it's double, always being doubled, all these excuse making. They realize you were right. They realize you were right. Number one. Now it's the excuse making. This is what I don't understand. This guy makes this argument that's nonsensical about him being a first-time starter. Well, wait a minute. Let's stop. Yep. Stop a minute to show how asinine that really is. You have Javonte Williams has never played one season in the NFL.
Jonathan Cooper.
These guys are balling when in comparison to a guy who's been in. This is his third year, by the way. I don't know if he got that right. This is his third year in the NFL. And all you're doing is doing spin doctoring. Because that's what you do. You listen to spin, you listen to hype, and you guys try to create a universe or a world that just that really doesn't exist. So either he's good or he's bad. Did it dawn on you that maybe, just maybe, Draymond Jones really isn't that good? Maybe we got that one right. And all you're doing is trying to spin this in every way to Sunday.
Yeah,
when I'm reading his comments, it just sounded like spin. Like it's spin that comes out from the garbage this guy listens.
Yeah, and obviously I caught where he was listening to, and I can understand his point, because when I say that, understand his point, I can understand where he's coming from, because he believes that garbage and he believes that bullshit. That online platform that he's listening to is spin doctoring. They're a spin doctoring online platform. I'm not going to attack them. I'm not going to come up here and say that, they can do whatever they want. They can get the all access. They can do that. If that's how they feel, that's what they want to do. But when we talk about Draymond Jones, this is his first year starting. You brought up a great point with Javonte Williams and a guy named Jonathan Cooper, who I was high on the draft. I've said that Marquise Spencer and Jonathan Cooper were good, solid draft picks. Nobody was saying that even during that draft cycle. So I don't want to hear it from those people as well. But I'm gonna talk about Draymond Jones a little bit deeper.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is something that people just don't like to look at when it comes to film. And I'm not watching podcasts to go watch film. I actually take a deep dive into film. I have the All-22. I just don't post it. I let this guy do it because it's his channel. But that being said, when I watch the All-22, and I'm going to be watching this after we get done here, what side were they running the ball at most of the game?
Draymond Jones.
Oh, and you guys can't mention that. You guys are too afraid to ask that. And
this is just his first year as a starter. This is his first year as he gets double teamed. That didn't work.
He gets yeah. You bring up the fact that I have too high expectations for a third-round pick. Who drafted Draymond Jones? You idiot. Let's talk about that for a minute.
I'm not hearing his excuses.
Yeah,
These are the same people that came and attacked us when we gave Jones the benefit of doubt, just saying that we just need a higher caliber player,
right? Solomon Thomas,
to make them better. And we were just, that's so crazy. Draymond Jones, he's the second guy.
Part of that great draft class everybody was talking about, right?
It just, because we keep saying that, they're so irritated. They hate us so much because they do. But people that are sick and tired of listening to their filth and their garbage, we're a blessing. We're a beacon to them because they're tired of. Look at Colby. You know what's going to happen now? This was a close game in score.
Here we go. I know where you're going.
NCR is going to run with that. They're going to run with Teddy Bridgewater and who I thought, considering the physical condition he was in, he played a great game being in the physical condition he was in. He never should have been there playing that game. But there's so much disdain in this organization for Locke that they can't even give Bridgewater a break. Because if Locke starts making those throws that I showed, by the way, on the all 22, not just the broadcast, just saying.
Yeah, the film that the other STR platforms don't have.
Well, yeah, well, that was going to be one of my other points. You want to sit here and attack us when we're actually showing film? Who cares? If it's the broadcast, I don't care if it was a guy up in the stands. I can look at that video and I can see Draymond Jones getting pushed around by one guy. Okay, so and I showed that all 22 when I can, but the NFL doesn't release it right away. Okay, and I've said that. Also, by the way, you said Shelby Harris. Well, you guys didn't talk about Shelby Harris. You did not listen. You came here basically to try to get strikes on Colby, trying to get the channel shut down. That's what your goal was. You didn't even bother to watch the video because we went into Draymond. We went into Shelby Harris.
Yes.
And if you weren't such a pinhead, and if you weren't so out to just get this channel by reporting Colby for doing nothing, you would have heard us read the riot act to Elway about giving Shelby Harris all that money. But you didn't bother to watch the video we made. So, and then you don't have the balls, by the way, to these online platforms you hang out with, when they say our film room and they don't even show one frame of film, not even a frame. You don't have the balls to call them out. But we actually show film. Who cares whether it's the broadcast? We do show the all 22, but who cares? We actually show it. And that's what drives you crazy, because we're doing it. And so what do you want to do out there? You want to go and try to get strikes against us that have there's no leverage to it. There's no
validity
to it. No validity whatsoever to it. No.
And you're the one that came on here and says, I'd like to no commercials, no bullshit, but I think you guys are being too hard on this team. See, that's when I knew that talking to this guy, he just had no sense of, you're going to come and attack me and report me and saying that all I said was, tell me, what does Draymond Jones do well? Just tell me. Just tell me, because you obviously support him. What does Draymond Jones do well? Well, he has a good swim move. What? So that's okay with you? Is a good swim move? How about the other?
Wait, time out. If he had a good swim move, we would see it. We would see it. He has nothing. He brings nothing. This thing. And I just want to say one last thing too about this clown that came on. This is his first year starting. He would not start on 31 other, or was it 31 other teams? He would not be a starter. I don't even know if he'd be a second string backup. I'll be honest. So that doesn't mean anything. Your logic is flawed. If there's no logic to it at all, there's no common sense to it. Who cares if what this is his first year start? That's just something you're throwing out. It's spin.
Well, that's what I'm saying. When you're throwing out spin that, well, I am going to judge more the people that are making millions of dollars. So you're going to bring up guys like not Justin Simmons. Let's bring up Justin Simmons, Von Miller, Shelby Harris, and all that. When you have a good, solid defensive line, and people forget to fucking understand this, when you have a good, solid defensive line, it helps everybody in the back end. I'm sorry, but that's the reality of the situation. They can't get it. They're idiotic fans. They love Elway. They love his draft picks. It's just we're
spending too much time on fans. You know what? Here's the thing: is that sports talk radio is they're like tiptoeing around it. They're saying it, but they're saying it delicately because they don't want to admit what we've been saying all along. They're trying not to admit that if we only have a defensive line, all those people on the back, even Simmons, could get help.
Where was Simmons in the game? We want to talk about Simmons and Draymond Jones. Let's just talk about. I'm going to go back to the game. I want to talk about Draymond Jones and Simmons. Where were they in this game? Except for Justin Simmons trying to get an interception on a boundary that was a lollipop throw by Keenum. Other than that play, where was Justin Simmons in this game? Nowhere to be seen. He was hiding.
Darby came out. He's definitely getting back to being Darby. He's, but he doesn't have any help whatsoever.
No.
None at all from that defensive line.
That whole entire defensive line and the linebacking sucked. Justin Strnad sucked. I mean, you can't stop Case Keenum on a 4th down running play. I mean, come on now.
Here's the thing that I thought was interesting. It was the fourth quarter that I was watching. I was watching Keenum. He was so hell bent to just stick it to Elway.
Oh, yeah.
That fumble in there is he's trying to get that.
And what did I say in the pregame in our last video? I said this game is going to be won in the trenches.
Oh yeah, yes. This was all about the trenches. Without doubt.
Guess what happened? You guys gave up 100 and some yards to a 3rd-string running back from the AFL. How does that make you feel, Bronco fans? All you Draymond Jones and Shelby Harris lovers. How does that feel?
Elway lovers.
Yeah. Oh, you Elway suckers.
Yeah. Well, he tore the last time we had any kind of defensive line, he tore it apart, and he was never going to go back to it again. It's corners, receivers, quarterbacks. Wash, rinse, repeat.
And we're going to wash, rinse, repeat with Patrick Surtain, who actually, he had an okay game, but still they were doing what I've been telling people, that this guy can't do any. When he's playing off coverage, he can't cover the short to intermediate routes. Yeah,
you know what I thought was funny too? It's like I was listening to Clueless SDR. I mean Clueless. They were saying, this before Fuller, whatever happened to Fuller, getting benched or whatever, that we were going to see. It was Al Wilson. Maybe it was not Al Wilson. Big Al saying that. Where we're going to see my camera's doing all kinds of weird things. Can you see me still?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. They were saying that they want to see Surtain in the slot. They want to see Surtain in the slot. You people just will never ever learn. You'll never learn.
I agree with you 100%. I thought, this is something that I don't think me and you have continuously, or let me just say I haven't said, but I think I've brought it up once or twice since this season. Every time Javonte Williams is on the field, he actually does something for this offense.
And I just wish we had somebody besides Shermer. Just anybody besides Shermer.
Shermer again. His play calling is so atrocious. It's so bad. I mean, you're gonna sit there and tell me, Pat Shermer, that you have a guy that Javonte Williams has proven me wrong each and every week, and you give more carries to Melvin Gordon, who honestly I think has regressed from last year, and that's a direct correlation from the offensive line. Because this offensive line is absolutely dog shit. And why is nobody talking about Eric Schaubert? I mean, this guy is blocking his tail off on the edge, and
and Shermer won't use him for blocking.
Oh no, and that's another player we're going to waste too. So
I'll tell you this though. In the fourth quarter, I thought the offensive line did a decent job. When it comes to the offensive line, even though it's definitely nothing to write home about. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not. Believe me.
Cleveland should put.
When you compare it to the defensive line, though, it's a step up. The fourth, but again, why weren't they doing this from quarter one? And then what? Well, hold on a second. I'm wondering if the reason I wonder if they let up. The other teams kind of let up as the game gets going, figuring that they got the game in the bag.
I think that has a lot to do with it, but I have to disagree with you with this offensive line being a step up from the defensive line. I hate to do it, but I gotta disagree, because this is something that I've been trying to explain to people for basically the past 5 to 6 years. It's not that they looked good in the fourth quarter, but if you look closer, their management with the A and B gaps and how Cleveland was mixing it up on that defensive line, and partially for the first 3 quarters, they were making that offensive line think. And this offensive line is a very stagnant unit. They cannot recognize blitzes. They cannot do that. In fourth quarter, the Cleveland Browns just got stagnant on the defense, and they were just saying, okay, you know what, we got this game. Like you said, we think that we got this game in the bag. We're just going to let off a little bit. But when we talk about the first 3 quarters of this game, I would say the first 3.5, 4.
Well, yeah, there's the run blocking too, and I'm just talking about pass pro and that
pass pro sucks. Garrett Bowles got exposed. I mean, this guy.
He was holding. I guess apparently when I was listening,
a lot.
He was holding a lot,
and they weren't calling it. And I don't know, and that's another thing. Dalton Reiser, Graham Glasgow were getting pushed back by Malik Jackson and McDaniel.
By the way, he was holding a lot in the Raider game too. That when I was watching even the broadcast, like the broadcast doesn't count. The guy up in the stands had a camera, and I can see what's going on. It's that spin. It's just too funny. But he was holding a lot also in the Raider game too. That didn't get called. I mean, that was more. Like I said, if I got paid to actually break film down, it would be a whole lot more in depth, and because every time I have my recorder and I'm looking at it, making commentary. But when I go to record the video, I see a lot of other stuff that I should probably, I just don't have a way to bring multiple recordings and listening and remembering. I just don't have time for that. And then the all 22, they won't even release that. They may not even release it for 48 hours after the game, and I can't always wait that long.
This was a game today where I got in the trenches, but again, we saw Elway in the game today, and he had his binoculars up there looking down like Al Davis, from the Raptors, like he's a Vulture, and so this is funny because everybody, Elway doesn't exist. Elway, they're showing him more and more now. I don't think Elway's trying to hide anymore. Honestly, I don't think he's trying to hide anymore. I think he loves the attention. He loves that.
He does, but he still has to hide at the same time. But if you're going to spin, you're going to spin, you're going to spin, you're going to spin. I mean, Elway could come out and say that I make all these final decisions, and then they would still tell you that he doesn't.
Well, can I ask? I was listening to STR, the game reaction, and I'm just reading through all these things, and they're saying that, well, don't blame the OC in this game. Vic Fangio got out-coached again. I'm like, how can you sit there and tell me with a straight face that Pat Shurmur didn't get out-coached? He got out-coached.
Well, I'm just look at it from a standpoint that
player personnel sucks.
It's player personnel. They just, and I just keep asking these same people, how come Fangio's defenses are so drastically different than the one is in Denver, and how come this defense looks like the very defense that John Elway himself built after Wade Phillips left, before Vic Fangio got here? It's the same thing, same formula.
Yeah, he tore down the Wade Phillips model and did the Al Davis corners. I mean, corners.
Yeah, clown car full of corners. Yeah,
soft in the middle, and even the safety. Even the corners that we have on this team aren't playing that great either. So
well. I'm telling you, there's literally no defensive front on this team.
There's none.
It seemed like once the Broncos scored, it's like, well, now we're going to actually play again. We're going to actually get off our asses, and this is Cleveland. We're going to actually, I'll be honest with you, Cleveland didn't play that great of a game, to be honest with you. I'm telling you, they didn't play that great of a game, but they still had it under control. I mean, that's what's scary. Why, Sports Talk Radio will go on and on and on about how close this game. I know they're going to do it. And they're going to go on and on about Bridgewater. And I'll give him credit for just being out there, but he never should have been out there. But what I'm saying is, look at when they didn't even defer. They said, well, your defense is like a joke. So we're just going to take the ball. And they did. And they just rammed it right down their throat.
Yep.
But when they won when they wanted to do it, when they wanted to do something, they did it.
Did
But
you see?
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Did you see the holes that were opening up in that game? Even into the fourth quarter, they were
Yeah,
freaking.
no, I saw it. They couldn't stop them. When the Broncos scored their last touchdown, I said that's going to be their last touchdown because they will not be able to stop. Because the way this game was is that when they really wanted to do something, and isn't this something I've said time and time again? When teams really want to go and do whatever it is to the Broncos, they just go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
And then they let up, and then it looks like the Broncos are doing good.
Yep.
And I've said this many a time, and this is a classic example of that.
Well, this was a classic example of how the Broncos need to get right on their D line and offensive line, but they won't do it because they're stubborn because of Elway. And this is something that, that offensive line, yeah, okay, the Browns didn't play their best game tonight, but they still showed something that me and you have continually said. The difference on both sides of the ball is just it's vastly different. This Broncos organization is they have a lot of they need to get those two lines fixed. They need to do it.
Yeah, I don't even hear it really much of an emphasis on it still. It's just it's incredible.
Wait till next week. You think the defensive line this week was bad? Wait till we go against the Washington football team's defensive line. Oh my God.
I don't know. I don't have a lot of confidence with that team.
Well, I don't either, but that's still going to be a step up in player personnel than us.
Can you imagine? You know what? I really think they should fire Fangio. I'm not kidding. I think they should put him out of his misery. I don't think it's fair to him. I think they should just let him actually go somewhere where he can actually get something done instead of this, and let Bronco fans learn the hard way. Let them learn the hard way.
I think that's the path we're going to be going down. I think you're right on. I think you're hitting the nail on the head. I think that the Bronco fans and STR, they're just going to have to learn the hard way. And when they hire Pat Shurmur as the interim head coach, and they're going to see how dreadful this is, just saying.
Oh, they'll blame. We get like talking point, Elway talking point. So it's not Shurmur. It's Fangio's mess. It's Shurmur's poor Shurmur. He's I can see it, and I can see people like that guy that just lapping it up.
For all intents and purposes, if we're gonna think about this game realistically, this game was your typical '90s smash mouth football from the Browns. That's basically what it was. They punched the Broncos in the mouth and they didn't respond. They put their tails between their legs and they got their butts whooped on the offense and defensive line. That's basically what it came down to.
Well, the offense did try to come back, but it was all too little too late. And it may have been because the Cleveland was just kind of letting up a bit. It just seemed like when the Cleveland needed to do whatever they needed to do, they did it. It seemed like that. Say they need to shut this game down. They shut it down. They need to score that touchdown because the Broncos scored. They scored it. They scored. They got off the. This is. They are below 500 now.
Yep. They're on a 4-game losing streak.
Again,
yep.
another losing streak. And what's really interesting is they think that firing Vic Fangio is going to change this. And to these people, I can't wait till this Aaron Rodgers. This is going to be so funny. It's going to be so funny to listen to these fans think they're going to get Aaron Rodgers. That's one of the things that are going to get very entertaining. It may have seemed realistic, I guess. It may have seemed more believable at the beginning of this season, and I feel bad for Bridgewater. I mean, season I feel last season.
If they started Drew Lock, we'd be batting 100 right now. Because I honestly think that if they were starting Drew Lock, Teddy would have been. It doesn't matter what quarterback's back there; they're going to get obliterated, and it's not going to matter. Why would Aaron Rodgers want to come behind that offensive line, and why would he want to work under Shurmur
and Elway?
That too, and to an ownerless situation and a toxic organization.
Yeah, it just.
People don't think about that.
Well,
And
Stafford, what I laugh about is they say like the pinhead that came on was going on about Draymond Jones. I was listening to the SDR put out bullshit. I mean, a total bullshit that, uh, Detroit would have dealt Stafford if the Broncos would have traded Locke, but Elway didn't want to trade Locke. I laugh because Stafford wanted nothing to do with this town. He wanted nothing to do with Elway. He wanted nothing to do with the Broncos. He made that clear. He publicly stated where he wanted to go. He did not want to come here. And it's just this. That's the. I don't even know if they had this kind of spin in L.A. Or wherever, Oakland, L.A., wherever the Raiders were back in the '90s. They were all bouncing around.
Did you see it? You didn't even see this spin with the Cleveland Browns when they weren't having their shit together.
What do you mean?
I mean, the Cleveland Browns, before they got real with their offense and defensive line, and they were going through quarterbacks left and right. You didn't see the spin that we see now with the Broncos. This is on a whole nother level.
Oh, because they even got the national. They even hooked the national. I mean, they fell for it to hook, line, and sinker.
Let me just say this: Troy Aikman. I like Troy Aikman. I honestly like him as a broadcaster. He tells it like it is, and you could tell from the demeanor, and you could tell from the broadcast. He hates the Broncos. He knows that this team is crap.
Yeah,
and he has lost all respect for it, and he knows this is a laughing joke, and that's why he was talking more about Cleveland in a good way than he was Denver in this game. That's every broadcaster I've come across. That's what they do.
Well, I think anybody outside of the feel-good bubble and sports talk radio who depend on John Elway in his talking points, they know where the fish rots. They know where the fish.
Yeah, they were bringing up things in the first quarter of the game with Troy Aikman. He's like, yeah, those they're 13th ranked offensively in the National Football League. Yeah, they're going to look that way when they're facing three of the worst teams in the National Football League. But this is not an adequate offense. And Shermer, he was basically calling out Shermer and Elway.
He knows what the deal is. Yeah,
that's Aikman. He tells it like it is.
That's why I say please fire Fangio to put him in a direction and get him out of here so that he doesn't have to put up with this nonsense.
When he does get the player personnel, I am gonna link it to every single fan that said we were wrong. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna find them.
It's not hard to do.
No, it's not hard to do.
Yeah, just delusion. Just delusion.
Hope and pray that hopium. Aaron Rodgers is going to come here. Draymond first year starting. Like
that's how I was going to open the show up. I was going to go, the tourniquet and because the game was close. I guarantee you they're going to run with the game is close. The game was close. The game was close, but the game was close.
Yeah, we now need Aaron Rodgers. We need Aaron Rodgers. Bridgewater can't get it done in these close games. We need Aaron Rodgers. That's what they're going to run with. Guaranteed.
Yeah, let them run with it. I'm just going to laugh because, it's all going to, like everything else, blows up in their face. It always does, and it will.
Looks close on the scoreboard, but if you watch the All-22 and even the game broadcast, even the Game Pass, you'll see it's a completely different story in the trenches. We got our asses kicked. Like I said.
I mean, was was Tampa having these kind of issues when they reeled in
Rodgers?
No, Brady? Were they having? Yeah, no.
Nope.
Were the Rams having issues like this when they reeled in Stafford?
Nope.
I mean, nobody. That none of them said that the Rams have a better organization than the Broncos, and that's why Stafford went where he went. It's simple.
Even the Raiders do now. And that's
The Raiders, they've been through this before. They've been through this, and their fans still are goofballs. I mean, they still, if Al Davis was still alive, if you look like the Crypt Keeper. If he was still looking like the Crypt Keeper and making bad decisions, they'd still be defending him. It's just you got to get Elway out of here. Got to get Elway out. It's the only way.
What a joke! What a joke! Hey, we were right again. We said this game would be won in the trenches, so we were right again.
It definitely came down to that, especially at the very end. I mean, they just had their way with the D line. Their offensive line was just like, where do you want to go? That way? Yeah, we'll blast holes that way. Where do you want to go? This? Yeah, we'll blast holes that way.
Yep, Draymond Jones, where were you? Where were you, buddy?
Yeah. It's like, where's Wally? Where is Draymond Jones? Oh, wait a minute. Well, he's getting double teamed. But this is his first year as a starter. I mean, I read that and I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? What does that have to do with anything?
I know.
If he was balling, he'd be balling, but he's not. And he wouldn't be a starter anywhere but here. Because Elway obviously picked him.
And what do you God. Last year, he had 6 sacks. 5 of those are coverage sacks. 5.
Yeah, it was more like 5.5. I know everybody. Some people. Yeah, he had 10. Well, he had 10 sacks. What do you mean? He had 10 sacks.
Yeah, 10 sacks, huh? Okay.
Yeah.
Good
7
Lord.
Sacks. They kept coming up with 7 sacks. I'm like, no. I did a whole film review, and there was all 22 in that one with Draymond Jones. Every sack recorded.
Yeah, you couldn't bring in a Solomon Thomas, but screw my opinions and Sheldon Rankins and Jordan Phillips, and those guys are way better than Draymond Jones. I'm sorry. Shelby Harris, you gave him 3 years, $27 million.
That's something else I was going to say.
I think that's something we should talk about with the Dray. I think Draymond Jones would be a beneficiary to a Sheldon Rankins, a Solomon Thomas, or I think the roles would be reversed. Honestly.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is that to show that this is Elway all the way. This isn't Vic Fangio. Is this guy was saying you didn't say anything about Shelby Harris when you went into a whole diatribe.
Oh God!
You went into the whole thing on that. You went off on it, and the reason we know that this is Elway because Elway's got this track record for hiring and overpaying Raider castoffs. I don't know what it is, but he's got a track record of
Watson
Raider castoffs.
Melik Watson, John Brown, David Moore.
I don't know what it is.
It's Al Davis.
That's not Fangio. That's gone on long before Fangio ever got here.
Al Davis is speaking to Elway.
I think Elway got possessed by a child.
Yeah, this is pathetic.
Oh God.
Just wait till next week. I think it's gonna be worse next week, honestly.
I don't know. But I just know if they lose next week, boy, the bottom's that's gonna be all she wrote.
Oh, the floodgates are already open. That team doesn't give a shit. Come on now. That team's gone.
Did we say that in the preseason?
Yep.
We were gonna be here. Teddy Bridgewater hanging on life support. And Elway just like, no, you got to stay there, being at Warden Hazen. Like I said, I still think it's like the longest mile and
longest yard.
Oh, excuse me, the longest yard. And Elway's at Warden Hazen and Drew Lock is Burt Reynolds, Just
it's a really bad situation right now.
No, we weren't right. We weren't right. It's fire James Marillac. Fire Fangio. I say it too. I'm saying it just so he can go on and actually do something. Because you're not going to get nothing done here. It'd be nice to really know the truth of what goes on, but there's all those confidentiality disclosures. So
Yeah. Alrighty. Well, I got to get back to work here, so I probably got to let you go.
Okay. Out from Diego Garcia and myself here in the Mile High City. Can't wait till next week.
Let's do it.
Don't believe a word they say at STR. The game really wasn't as close as you think it was.
Nope.
Take care.
Yeah, you too.
Bye.
Bye.